Hello and welcome to a Battlefield 1 update. So we've had quite a bit of news released since the beta, but before we get into that I will apologise if my voice gets a bit dodgy at various points. I've got a sore throat. Typically I'm going to EGX on Thursday and my throat is starting to close up even before I've got to the event. Now EGX is what used to be called the Eurogamer Expo and it's the UK's biggest gaming show. Hopefully there I will get to play Battlefield 1 on St Quentin Scar. That's the European map that we saw at the EA Play event with the Zeppelin, so that should be quite interesting getting hands on with a different map because I've only played the beta map so far. Now hopefully it's going to be on PC and hopefully Titanfall 2 is going to be on PC as well. A lot of the games seem to be running on console, particularly PS4. So things like Dishonored 2 I probably won't play because I don't own a console and really just can't get on with controllers. Right, back to Battlefield 1 and the beta. So 13.2 million players took part in that beta, but the most surprising stats are the actual breakdown of the classes. 30% of people played Assault, 28% of people played Scout, 21% played Support, and 10% played Medic. I know that doesn't add up to 100%, but the rest of it was made up of tankers and pilots and cavalry. Now it's no surprise that Assault and Scout were the two most popular classes. Assault had all the fun gadgets and the Scout had the sniper rifles. But it's quite a considerable drop for the other two classes. Support at 21% I can understand because the Support class didn't have any really interesting gadgets and the guns were okay, but they weren't great at close range. They got beaten by the Assault, they weren't great at medium range, they got beaten by the Medics, and they weren't great at long range because they got beaten by the Scouts. So the LMGs were a bit in the middle and a bit nowhere really. The big surprise is Medic at 10%. Now I really liked the Medic class. It's actually the class I played most during the beta. I thought the semi-automatic rifles were great. I really liked the fact you could put an optic on them, but I can understand why people didn't play the Medic because none of the Medic abilities were really worthwhile. The revive icon over friendly players was broken, then there's that fast get back to the menu option. The grenade launcher was pretty poor and didn't have an anti-tank option. And then you've got the healing kits, which were pretty much exactly the same as Battlefield 4, so why would you try those out because you've tried them out 1,000 times before? But like I say, I would have thought that the guns would have made the class more popular because those semi-automatics were very good. Yes, you were going to get beaten at close range, but at medium and long ranges you could actually hold your own pretty well, even against the snipers. Back to the stats, and the Tank Hunter was the most destructive elite class, and that's because it's just the best elite class because that rifle is brilliant against infantry. It's pretty poor against vehicles, but against infantry it was excellent. The other two elite classes have to get in close and therefore got grenaded all the time. There were 62.2 million kills while on horseback, and that really just shows you how overpowered the horses were. And that has been acknowledged by DICE. So Daniel Berlin, who's the lead world designer on Battlefield 1, put a post on battlefield.com in which he thanks everybody for playing the beta and says some of the changes that the development team are going to make. The first of these, and the most fundamental to a Battlefield game, is they're changing the Conquest scoring system so that kills bleed tickets again. So basically we're going back to the Battlefield 4 Conquest scoring system and not the new one they tried out in Battlefield 1. They're also making a few tweaks to Rush, although they don't go into the details. I should imagine they're going to probably increase it to 32 players and maybe balance the number of tanks that there were on the maps. He goes on to say that the light tank is too effective and will need some work, and that the horses can take far too many rounds and they're going to need some work as well. He says they've also learnt from the beta that players need more tools to deal with vehicles earlier on, and they're definitely going to look at that and also include a gadget for the support class which will help neutralise vehicles. Now I'm hoping that isn't just going to be the mortar. We know the support class is getting the mortar because people have mined into the beta files, but I'm really hoping the mortar isn't going to be powerful enough to take out vehicles. I've never liked mortars in the games. I really don't like the indirect fire weapons, so I'm hoping they're going to be pretty weak and puny actually, and it's something else that's going to help them take out vehicles. And I'm kind of hoping that the medic might get an anti-tank grenade for their grenade launcher, because they've got pretty much every other type of grenade, and you could easily put one of the light anti-vehicle grenades onto that grenade launcher. However, that's not in any of the information that's been data mined out of the beta. Now, out online there are full lists of all the weapons, all the vehicles, all the vehicle gadgets, but most interestingly there are some player gadgets that weren't in the beta. So the assault class gets yet another explosive device. They get the limpet mine, which you can attach to objects and blow up. The medic class quite bizarrely gets the wrench, so that means not only can the medic heal players, it will be able to heal vehicles by hitting them on the outside with the wrench. Not quite sure why they gave the medic the wrench. You would have thought that would have gone to the assault class, then maybe they could have given the limpet mine to the scout class. We'll just have to wait and see what the thinking behind this is. The support class of course get the mortar with HE rounds, airburst rounds and smoke rounds, because what we really liked in Battlefield 4 was the support class being able to launch mortars out of the spawn. Yeah, they've brought the mortar back. And the scout class gets two gadgets that weren't available in the beta but were in the files. The first of those is the helmet decoy, which is essentially a helmet on a stick you can put up over cover, and if somebody shoots it, it will spot them on the map for you. Their second gadget is called a trench shield, and it's a deployable metal shield that they can go prone behind and shoot through a hole in it. Because what prone snipers really need is to be harder to hit. Now looking on the bright side, maybe some of these weren't put into the beta because DICE haven't decided whether they're going to put them into the game or not. I'd really like to see the limpet mine not on the assault class. I'd like to see the mortar and probably that trench shield just disappear from the game entirely. I don't think there's anything wrong with most of the gadgets in the game, I just think they need moving around a bit. Like I say, why does the assault need yet another explosive device? Why has the medic got the wrench? Because they're not the class that's going to be following vehicles around. Give the assault the wrench and rename them engineers. Give the support the limpet mines. Give the medics an anti-tank rifle grenade, and the scouts, well, they can keep their helmet decoy. Balance things up so that each class is useful. Each class has got an anti-infantry role, an infantry support role, and a minor anti-tank role apart from the assault, who's the major anti-tank hitter. There's a reason why support and medic weren't that popular on the map we played, and that's because they weren't that useful. And we've seen that in Battlefield 4, where you'd get maps where there were pretty much just snipers and engineers, because those were the classes that were useful on that map. I am going to get to try St Quentin's Scar at EGX, and maybe it'll be a different build of the game, so I'll report back and let you know if my opinions changed after playing a different map. Thanks for watching.